Hey everyone, this is a video guide for the Data Chroma module LinkedIn People Profile Scraper. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process of how to set up this module and in what situation you'll find this module to be useful. So, how this module works is you will provide a bunch of LinkedIn People Profile URLs, and you are basically instructing the module to go ahead inside of LinkedIn and scrape these people for all the information that is present about these people on LinkedIn. So this model will scrape the person's name, their current company name, their current job title, the company's LinkedIn profile, the company's domain name, and all these output fields are mentioned on this documentation page. One interesting thing that our model does is it will also look for phone numbers, external URLs, and email address present in the LinkedIn summary of these prospects, and scrape them and arrange them into different columns in the output sheet. So essentially, what we have found is a lot of times people are in the habit of mentioning their Gmail address, in the summary that I can be reached at this address. And when you're scraping, let's say 1,000 people, the module will give you a separate column and will mention that email address from summary, phone number from summary, external URL from summary. So that's something that that we have found to be very useful. And if you're running cold email campaigns, you've gotten the email address by this process, and you would not need to go ahead and look for some other software like Snowview or find that lead to find that person's email. So let's go ahead and let's set up this module. I'm gonna click on use this module, and the first thing that the setup form has asked us is to supply it with the LinkedIn session cookie. So for that, let's go to linkedin.com. Right click on the page, go to inspect, click on these arrows, click on application, click on cookies, and inside cookies click on linkedin.com. Look for LIAT here and copy the value corresponding to LIAT. Go back to the form. I'm going to paste this value here. Yeah. Now the next thing is it wants a Google Sheet URL. So the idea is, if you have a bunch of LinkedIn profiles, arrange them in a single column in a Google Sheet. So for simplicity purposes, I've made a sheet and I named it the same as the module's name. But you can go ahead and name your sheet whatever you want, and put a header on the sheet. So I've put the header as LinkedIn people profiles, and let's say I have these 11 people that I want to scrape for all the information from LinkedIn. So I've arranged them into column A, and what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna share the sheet, and make sure that your sheet is open to be shared with the anyone on the internet. So there are different ways of sharing the sheet. So essentially, but what we want is the configuration to be anyone with this link on the internet can view the sheet. So copy this link, go back to Google Sheet URL, paste this URL here. It's the next thing it's asking for is the Google Sheet column name. So our column name is LinkedIn people profiles. I'm going to copy it here. I'm going to paste this. The next thing the configuration form has asked us is, let me just close this. Yeah, is the number of Google Sheet rows to process. So let's say there are thousands and thousands of people here. So you need to, if you want to process all the rows, put down that number. So for now, I just want to, for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna just scrape these first 5 people. So I'm gonna write 5. I just want the first 5 rows to be processed, and I'm gonna mention my email address, which is where the result file will be sent to. So let's say once this model has completed the work, it'll send you an email along with the result file attached. So that is what this email address will do. So let's click on next to move forward. So you'll see this button toggle between run and stop the very moment you enter this page. What it's doing, it's checking for any previous logs, and when there are no logs, it'll shift to run. Let's click on run to run this module. You'll see the logs getting generated here. So it has fetched data from our Google Sheets. The we supplied the number 5. It's scraping for 6 because it's considering the first row as also the a row, and it has logged into my LinkedIn, and it started scraping for these first 5 people. You'll see the logs shifting from showing that the scraping has been completed, and this toggle has been this button has been toggled from stop to run, signifying the fact that this module has completed the work here. You'll click on result to download the result file. Let's click enter. Let's go to the sheet. I'm gonna go to the next tab, and I'm gonna import my result file here. And I'm gonna click on append to current sheet. I don't want this to be to replace the entire thing. The first result that this is showing is that LinkedIn people not present, is because our first input was a header name. So let me just delete this particular result, and then we have these 5 people, the data of which has been scraped from LinkedIn. So since we have this summary column, it's messing the entire results. For now, I'm going to delete this, but you might need it. I don't need it for this for the demonstration purposes. So we have the first name, we have the person's last name, we have the headline, we have the LinkedIn profile. This is what we supplied the module with. We have the country, we have the current position, which is this. We have the company's name, we have the company domain, we have the company's LinkedIn profile, then we have the industry, we have the phone numbers and the email summary. So of these people, we don't have they don't have their email in the summary. But let's say you're scraping 300 or 400 people, and out of these there are certain number of people who have mentioned their emails in the summaries. You'll see their emails being shown here. So this is how the LinkedIn people profile scraper works. The way I use the scraper is, if I have a bunch of LinkedIn profiles, I'll pass it through the scraper, and I'll get their first name, I'll get their last name, and I also get the domain of their current company, and I'll input this data into a email extractor and file the email address and run the campaign, the cold email campaign on that. So that is one use case scenario that I personally use this scraper for. If you're stuck in any of the step, drop a line at support@datachroma.com, and we will get back to you. Thank you.